Don't look at the flowers, Samura. Don't look at the flowers. Don't look at the flowers. Samura, don't look at the flowers. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, doing to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, here we are for me to give you 15 minutes of my thoughts on whether or not Samura's gonna die or should die. Gone and should, two completely different things. But this is a very complicated topic, so let me start this timer right this instant. If I can find it, yeah, let's go. So, Sombra is the character of all characters in Kagurabachi. I think he is well regarded as one of the most popular. Like, I don't even think it's really close. I haven't seen a popularity poll for Kagurabachi, but like, in terms of characters who get glazed for their writing, for their design, for their fighting style, for their enchanted blade, for how they use their enchanted blade, for literally everything, it's Samura. It's Samura. It's Samura. And while Samura, is he my favorite character in the show? I need to think about that more. May have to make a tier list in the future. But with it being the case, Samura is a really, really popular character. But a lot of people are kind of just waiting for this shoe to drop, if you will, right? Because you know what happens to all these big, bad, well-designed, cool power having, extremely powerful, top of the line, they all end up dead. Like, no matter what, if you see a cool older guy in a show, heaven forbid he's blind, but a cool older guy in a show with a cool power, great utility, stronger than the main character, teaches our main characters things about themselves and their abilities, wow, that's amazing. They're usually gonna die. And a lot of people are watching that clock right now. And here's the thing, right? In terms of the logical argument, I'm not even fully against it, right? I'm a big Samura schlopper, if you will. You know, I'm not about to say I love... Okay, I was wondering what's happening. I love me some Samura. He's going. He's juicy. He does fantastic with the narrative. That's all real cool. But a lot of people are like, well, you know, this is a manga. Shonen manga, especially. That man was on the timer since he appeared. And you're right. And here's the thing. There are 3 major factors where I'm leaning away from a Samura instead of towards it. But admittedly, each of those 3 major factors also have a lean towards it. So like, I'm really 50-50 on it. Factor number 1, the character. Now, you may be like, Pencil Man, didn't you just spend a little bit of time explaining how characters of his ilk always die? Like, it's like a law of the writing universe. Pencil Man, aren't you going to introduce a character like this in your own narrative and slaughter them with glee? Not with glee. For utility, it's different. But with it being the case, Samura's character is one of the biggest reasons where I'm like, isn't just undermining him entirely? Like, don't get me wrong. Well, having it on me and keeping it on me at all times is a fun thing. Having it on me, keeping it on me, a whole character whose whole thing was that he was already willing to die, and in fact wanted to die, and very specifically blinded himself towards the possibilities of the future because he was so ready and willing to die, isn't booming him just undoing that entire thing. And like, I get it. Because the people who hear that have heard it before. If you watch my Kagurabachi reviews, I've thrown this lob up many a time. And all y'all are just like Prime LeBron and come in and say, blocked by James! And y'all immediately be like, yeah, Pencil Man, don't you love tragedy? Don't you love it? Isn't it such a beautiful idea? Such an amazing, legendary, scrumptious thing that Samura, after finally unblinding himself, finally opening his eyes to the future, finally being willing to see and work with that very same future he worked so hard to protect, wouldn't it be just so tragic? Such despair-inducing, so amazing if he couldn't do it. Not because of a lack of will, not because he doesn't want to live, not even for the idea that he doesn't have something to live for in his own daughter. No, wouldn't it be so beautifully tragic if he couldn't, because his life was cut short the second he wanted to. And you're right. Even if you didn't make that argument, I know you did in your head, and you're right. The tragedy writes itself. The idea of a man who had finally looked up to see the sun, only to find out it was too blinding for his eyes and he lost his sight in life anyway. It works so well. So that's the character part of it. Where I think it would be kind of contradictory to Samura's character, where if he were to just, die talking more, as he probably realistically should, that he would just, perish, considering, the whole point of this character was that, hey, he's going to live for the future now, right? Real good things. Second thing, narrative balancing. This one is going to be weird. In fact, it's going to be so weird that I'm going to flip it actually into the third point and actually go into what was initially going to be the third point. How long do you think Kagurabachi is going to be? Between you and me, how long do you think Kagurabachi is going to be? Do you think we're in the end game right now? Do you think we're low-key in the final battle? Do you think Chihiro going up against Akimura and very specifically developing a hard counter to Akimura's ability, or realizing that all of Akimura's abilities are hard countered by N10, is meant to sort of signify that, oh, nah, we're in final battle stuff, right? Like, look at this. None of his abilities work anymore. He doesn't even have to worry about the encroachment of the Shinichi or anything with the malediction. He can just diff him with N10. Do you think this is meant to signify the end? If you do, then unironically, Samura really don't need to die then. The main reason I say that is because Samura is typically a character who gets slain relatively early or at best midway through a narrative. If you think I'm wrong, have you ever heard of a little named character called Jiraiya? Have you ever heard of like almost every mentor character ever? They usually make it like past the first act, maybe a bit into the second act, and then typically their end is like a big second act conclusion kind of thing. However, if you think we're in the final battle, because out here Chihiro's already developing counters and not running away, but rather clashing with his uncle, and we may be wrapping up a lot more quickly than a lot of people thought, then then Samura really doesn't need to perish, because what's the point then? It's not end of Act 1, start of Act 2, or end of Act 2, start of Act 3. Like, that's not it at all. So he should be perfectly fine. However, in spite of Chihiro's rapid development here and his stated immunity, I think Akimura being so cracked that he beat Samura in a 1v1 in his own fiery realm. Meanwhile, Chihiro is still confirmed to be levels upon levels beneath Samura in terms of potency. And even with Chihiro's rapid evolution, I don't think that's meant to change all too soon. I think, once again, you can kind of flip this narrative point in his head and be like, well, we're not anywhere near done. At best, and I do mean at best, Chihiro has introduced a stall point, an ability to neutralize the Shinichi. His uncle's still the greatest guy to ever sword ever. He beat the quick draw guy in a quick draw without even using sorcery. It was regular quick draw. This wasn't even EI White Purity style, it was regular EI. And he's still tied with Samura, and then proceeded to beat him while Samura was literally on fire. While Soga was literally on fire. So yeah, it's not near the end, and it never would be. So guess what? Clock's ticking. Samura, time to get your behind up out of here. And that is absolutely true, right? Personally, as much as my acceleration of spheres for Kagurabachi that were enhanced by this chapter, I just think this is going to be Chihiro finding he can do something, but then eventually, or very quickly realizing that, I can't really do much at all. And with that being the case, there are way too many open plot threads, and Kagurabachi's not getting canceled. Like, it would have to be Hokuzono himself deciding to end the manga. Kagurabachi's doing way too well to be canceled at all. If certain things in Shonen Jump are still currently running and have no fear of being canceled, Kagurabachi's at, the top of that list, right behind, One Piece, Ichi the Witch, Sakamoto Days, and Motula, which is a short run series anyway. So, it's not over. It's nowhere near over. We still have the open Hakuri plot threads. We still have, in my open Hakuri plot threads, I mean, the open Sazanami plot threads, a lot of his family's still alive, so that's still a thing. We still have the rest of the Ishaku to elaborate on. We still have Hatshaku just entirely as a concept on his own. We still have the rest of Yora's backstory. We still have the other two Enchanted Blade wielders. We still have the other two Enchanted Blades. We have Kuguri's relationship with his Enchanted Blade. We have Hirohiko and his thing with Kumayuri. We have so much still up in the air. We're not ending right now. This is, at best, you started to fight the boss too early. You better retreat, because this is an auto-lose battle. That's what this is. At its core, I'm not surprised. We're not ending. So Samura can meet his ending right here, because this is the time that he meets his ending, and it's perfectly timed. Right? And, unfortunately, I do find myself somewhat agreeing, if not agreeing outright, considering I am also a proponent of the series still at least hitting 200 chapters, and we're only on 107. So you may be like, okay, Pencil Man, you talked up point 1, the character arc, and then explained how the tragedy could be beautiful and how you'd probably like it in the end. You talked up point 2, the idea of the timing and placement of the narrative and how Samura fits perfectly in that place, and the tragedy can still fit from part 1 of the initial discussion. And now ultimately you can move on to what was going to be your part 2, but now is your part 3. Narrative weight placement slash scaling. Now, with Samura being alive, we were balanced. Somewhat, not really against Soga, quite obviously, considering, we literally are seeing Chihiro and Samura versus Soga, and it's not going all too well. But before Soga was introduced as a proper threat that could appear, Samura was a little bit overtuned. I think, for anyone who doesn't know what I mean, I'm talking in, not just fighting game terms, but just general PvP game terms, where a character is quote unquote overtuned, as in they do too much, right? If you don't pick this character, you're kind of sort of throwing. They're not meta. If you don't play a meta character while you're playing something seriously, then what are you doing, right? Unless you make a character meta because you're cracked and this, that, and the third. Samura, before the proper reintroduction of Soga, was way too meta. He was way too fast, way too strong, way too cracked for just a support player, had good DPS as a support player. He was already good, and that was before he apparently got Giga Amp senses on top of his now perfect sight that he restored everything. He was way too cracked. Thusly, he needed to be removed because he was way too cracked in an era that literally couldn't sustain him. Before Soga got the Shinushi back, it was like a dream of Samura living, because he kinda had to go some way or another, or else he'd literally just break the plot over his knees. Heaven forbid they got the other sword bearers back, it was wraps. However, unlike the many times where before I could say, blocked by James, and y'all would actually have a point, I think now we've run into the opposite problem, where if we don't keep Samura alive for a narrative and power scaling point, I'm sorry y'all, Iori, you're real cool, you're not Samura alive. And we don't got time to get you up to Samura level. As much as I think that this series is going to go on for a lot longer, Iori reaching Samura level at all in the current narrative just doesn't seem to make any logistical sense. So we need Samura in order to make things balanced. Because sure, Chihiro may be immune to the abilities of the Shinuchi, but he still ain't immune to these hands. And unfortunately, Unk definitely has these hands over Chihiro, despite his seemingly shocked reaction here. So we need Samura for narrative balancing. For right now, unfortunately, as powerful and potent as the other two Enchanted Blade wielders could be, I still don't think they're going to be enough to beat Soga, considering they couldn't even beat Soga 18 years ago. And that was before Soga clearly got the same sort of self-reflection, mentalist amp that Samura got over the time period without the Tobimune. And now Soga has that too, and even with Chihiro's hard countering, I just don't think it's enough. They couldn't beat him before, they're not beating him now. We need Samura alive. So, those are my thoughts in the three separate areas of character, in terms of just narrative placement slash narrative length slash timing, and then character perspective and weight. So, at the end of it all, now I've given you all that, what is my true, genuine, honest opinion in terms of a yes or no? A simple binary, right? Because as much as I would like to just end this video and be like, gray area, I think Samura should live, or I can see why Samura should technically die, but I think he should live, so I'm going to put Samura in between and wrap it up and say, thank you, guys. I'm gonna say Samura's gonna live. I'm not gonna put beans down on it, because I ain't got no beans to put down on it. But I'm going to put my metaphorical beans down. I'm gonna put my left big toe down on Samura living, because of the third point and retroactively feeding back in the first 2 points that I said were blocked by James. By James, I mean you. The idea of Samura's character not just being, annihilated by him perishing anyway, like he originally planned to, and the idea that the narrative is going to go on for longer, allowing for someone to play a more active mental role, not much more of a passive one like he played back when he was initially sort of a major antagonist. I think Samura, plus the idea of we need his just raw power and experience in order to even somewhat compete with Soga at all and get Chihiro out of the situation, and possibly get anyone who's under Soga / the Ishaku's purview out of the situation, we need Samura. We need Samura, and as beautiful, as thick, as juicy, and as scrumbly-umptious as a tragedy would be of Samura going too soon and him falling away to death, even though he had finally accepted the idea of the future, him falling to the strongest manifestation of the past. It works, but I think the narrative of Kagurabachi is heavily based on the idea of the past working with the future, the idea of legacy and how you interpret legacy, and very specifically how one can change one's legacy actively. So I think Samura's story will be one of changing legacy. And I think he needs to be alive to do that. While his contributions to Chihiro's development so far have been fine, fantastic even, let me not say fine, and his developments for Iori are fantastic as well, I don't think it's enough. I think Slaughtering Samura would be the same as slaughtering Endeavor in MHA. It just wouldn't really work for the character at hand. Samura needs to atone. Samura needs to redeem himself in every way. As a father, as a warrior, what he did, what he could not do. And he needs to be alive to do that. Letting him perish is the easy way out. Narratively, in terms of like you remove a very powerful piece from a protagonist side just to raise the stakes. And like just character-wise, as in you don't have to write a character who's dead. Shock horror. So I'm going to put my left big toe down on Samura living. I don't think he should die just yet. I think his death should be scapegoated / avoided through a variety of means. Especially with Shiro being immune to the Shinichi's abilities now, the Manga Sumi's abilities. He should be able to get Samura out of here. Samura should be able to get himself out of here. Things should work. But with that being the case, I'm out of time. So if you made it all the way to this video, please leave one more day. Sorry, Spider-Man fans. Leave one more day in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you know I'm set on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you want to have a page down below. You can support me for as low as $1 a month. Getting exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some perks include the live reactions to every series I have to review, ad variations of all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, and your name listed at the end of literally every single video. In terms of if you're a $3 member or higher, on top of that, you get your name listed right aloud at the end of every single video, patron or member. And also you get all early access to all videos on the second channel, back out the reaction, link in the description down below. And also up in the card up here, right where this finger's pointing, I know the other finger's been consumed by the manga. I can't, if I go too far, I'll literally get consumed into the manga world, and I don't want to run the one in the Soga. So, there's also my Twitch down below, that guy with the controller. Check that out. I stream every Friday at 8 p.m. EST. Roll through, chat about literally anything and everything. I do mean literally anything and everything. On top of that, I do my Ko-Fi down below if you want to do a one-time donation. 5 beats for a short video, 20 beats for a long video. And if anyone, this is just like a loose thing that only just hit me. If anyone ever hits me with like 4 digits or more of any sort of donation after the point, shaven head bald, same day. But that aside, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, J2MA, Guillaume, Pura Ura, Enzo, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Magic, CCC, Romano Furen, Dino, Hector Gonzalez, Tim Thomas, Kaving, Julian Perez, RXN, Nevis97, Logan Guzman, Dead Meme, Karu Deer, Christian Carter, Keon Stewart, Donovan McIntosh, Sino King, Hamza Idrisi, BNA DNA, Edwin Igbinoba, Straw, Athenzi Shear, Antavius Mitchell, Azo2404, Superflame Zero, Weary Exile, Window Life, Alex Kenny, Victor Jacobs, Todd, Dre, Axis XC, The Practical One, Aswin Hedi Presetia, JMD KD, Devi Pesiet, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CAET, Funny Dude, Jagoda, Plant Crone, Striker Man, Brandon Payne, Black Sage, and Multi-Batman Superman. Then I leave a thank you to Artline Art Tier patrons: A+A, Kevin Encarnacion, Sean, Dread Zoen, Midnight Lord 21, CJ, and Karina Hernandez. Then I leave a thank you to our Ink Tier members: King RTX, Shrimp the 4th Shrimp 06, and Zom. Then I give a thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Walking Munoz and Walkie Munoz.